Howdy, everybody and thing in the planet that watches. My name's Trey, and today I'm going to talk to you about memory wipe flaws and the club of false reality. Well, the planes might be heard circling, checking everything out for the countdown, for the count. Memory wipe flaws and the club of false reality. You know, the fact that we have our memories wiped or electrocuted at extreme amounts. Evidence of Robert Monroe's out-of-body journeys are corroborated with the actual aliens that were about to pass on after the crash in Roswell. They hired a psychic nurse. She wrote it into a small book, and the day of her death, released it. I read it. Interview with the alien. And so, you know, we know the fact that we have our memories wiped and electrocuted out of our essence before reincarnation is a big foundational stone in the insanity of this planet of the apes. Human slaves controlled by the heavily orchestrated archons. With all their magnificent orchestration, Loser 4, Helite, 1% robber barons, the Illuminati, the highest levels of the Freemasons, Jewish and Catholic cults, and their evil, loving control trippers in the Council on Foreign Relations, or as I call it, the Club of False Reality Imposition. There's actually a man came one week to the Santa Cruz Farmers Market in, I believe it was 2020 or 2021. I think it was the New American Magazine, and he was giving out these excerpts. It was like 8 pages, and 6 pages of it was names of the CEOs of some of the Fortune 500 companies and officiales in the government all around the world who orchestrated all the rules that the planet was forced to go through 4.5 years ago. So we have the club of false reality imposition, and psychically at least, and often successful forcing attempts of rules or plans or war plans or attrition war plans on the planet, which later morphed into the fully insane UN Psychotic World Heist Association and the billionaire eugenicist plans that created Planned Parenthood, or a certain person's daddy was I believe the first or second president of Planned Parenthood. Shot schedules, wars, and now the attempted AI takeover of everything. Now that with all the Humans 2.0 experiment on half the planet at least, and now we have President re-elect Trump signing the deals to make USA the AI center on planet Earth. Yes, that's right. Hiring Elon Musk to help to make USA the greatest AI center of planet Earth. Run by Elon Musk, who did a Nazi salute for everyone to see in the inauguration. He did a Heil Hitler for everyone to see in the inauguration. How about that? What could go wrong? We have the nasty junior gods, weather weaponry arsenal controls, lasering the sites for smart city renovations, and you know the largest child harvest ever, 2,000 missing children in Lahaina from that one, but include LA, include all the other cities so far. I don't know, at least 2 or 3, 4 four direct energy weapon attacks to create smart city renovations, while our entire country has been dialed to freezing, often in places that would never be freezing, like Louisiana or Charleston or Florida, like snow in Charleston all day long, like 45 degrees all day long in subtropical regions of the main continental USA. I mean, how fake could you get? Okay. All day long, World War III looms. Well, it's really already, like I say, it's already been going for years in the form of weather and nanotech weaponry and psychological warfare. Financial fiat meltdowns and more attempts to shut down the food supply, dwelling in fake cold, with the elites controlling, like they're attempted to use this mainstream media scare from some bird flu to destroy the egg supply. Well, this is the organic breadbasket of the USA here that surrounds me. Although I'm lazy, I'm about to plant something. I'm lazy about gardening. I'm surrounded by organic farmers, and so the Lakefield supplies probably all 50 continental USA states with organic. I've seen it in grocery stores everywhere, so I'm lucky. But they couldn't destroy the egg supply here because it's too strong. The Glom Egg Ranch over here in Aptos, where I'm about to go, they have a huge egg supply, and someone was telling me the security is really tight, and I've only seen one egg that looked really scary. So with the elites controlling most information that people receive, just do as you're told. Don't question authority. Accept this geoengineered terraforming into an artificial nanotech encrusted, fake freezing, totally programmed ionosphere that they brag on their YouTube page. Corporation just down the road from here, they call it Operation Space Fence, that they are going to control. And then in the previous operation, the HAARP, in a public press conference in Alaska before they shut down the facility there, or transferred they gave the ownership from the Navy over to some other military organization. This courageous, good-looking woman senator said, now what exactly is HAARP? And I learned this from Elena Freeland's presentation from her book. Unlike me, she never caved and never got a cell phone, and she wrote a book called Geoengineered Transhumanism. And so she played this slide, this little movie clip from 1982, and the Navy, the guy in the Navy had the audacity to say, well, we plan to control the ionosphere. So, with the elites controlling most of the information people receive, just do as you're told. Don't question authority. There's no such thing as chemtrailing. Oh, it's just naturally freezing everywhere. Just take another booster. Be an archonically remote-controlled slave and believe the lies of the MSM. Accept the fake historical narrative of the victors. Don't you know that the history books that the victors write is always correct? Compulsory forced Rockefeller K through 12 or 1 through 12 school system is righteous. It's good for you. Don't you know? It's very important that you keep your critical thinking skills at zilch if you want to fit in with this world. Obey your false thoughts. Remain in fear. External control. Stay stuck in survival mode. It's very essential that I don't earn any money from all this work. It's very essential that you don't make a comment. It's very essential that you don't participate in the awakening. Stay stuck in fear. Never, ever notice. You're never going to have time to notice the intense attrition forced on almost everyone. because you got to pay your exorbitant rent that goes up $100 every year if you live around here. You got to work 2 or 3 jobs to pay for that box, for your bath, and for your fridge and your stovetop and your safe place to lock your possessions up, and maybe your children and your wife. And you got to pay every minute of your life. You don't have time to watch this video, and you will never ever notice the intense attrition forced on almost everyone who's not willing to do the intense shadow work to clearing it up. Since the formation of the CFR and the USN Trojan horses, to the forced sterilization and robotification of this time, not just crazy undesirables like they did here 120 years ago, and then Hitler did here about 100 years ago. No, rather in Germany, copying the ideas he got from the USA, sterilizing or castrating the undesirables. No, not just them, not just people whose parents were alcoholics, who were people who were deemed insane. People with low IQs or who had bad genes. Nope. Every compliant person. Every person who was willing to take the experiment. Yes, you're probably sterilized. I'm not saying I know that for certain. If not, then, you could have what we would call an AI chimera child. And it's very terrifying. So please, if you took many experiments, please do not have a chimera AI child and bring that harm onto a spirit or a whatever it is, an AI entity. Everyone who is terrified and coerced into the nasty upgrade of becoming a human 2.0 should probably not reproduce. And everyone who did that experiment who did not die of sudden adult death, a conveniently repurposed anagram in 2021, they changed it from seasonal affective disorder to SAD, sudden adult death syndrome. The fact remains that the fallen angels are still very powerful, and that's why they had to pull this, because they're terrified of the ascension of humanity in this planet and the awakening, turning into a divine sphere. A sphere being the only fear that we have is the divine globe awakening, the divine being, the crystal heart of Christ Sophia, awakening within you and this planet and all beings that are willing to have that courage. The fact remains that the fallen angels are still very powerful, even after getting gradually exposed. UTAT wasn't just something I made up. People used to think David Icke was insane. Dan Willis, his webpage is thewebmatrix.net. And when I was healing my 15 broken bones, I read that whole webpage, and it kind of really actually blew my mind several times. And I can tell you right now, if anyone wants to know what is in the JFK files, a good place to start before you, and maybe after you get any official ideas, is to check that website, because he puts a lot of, I think it's after 50 years they're allowed to say, a lot of these things, and he put it there. So, people used to think David Icke was insane. Now a growing amount of us feel he's like the courageous he's actually the courageous grandfather of our actual truth movement. In other words, he was talking about the things the Gnostics talked about. He's talking about the AI takeover before the year 2000. I'm reading one of his books now called And the Truth Shall Set You Free. Came out in 1996. He was already exposing all this stuff back then. Because you see these dark ETs and their 1% slaves, their 1% puppy dogs, they'd had these plans for years, okay? But see, what people think that David Icke is controlled opposition or something, or a gatekeeper or shill, or maybe he does have the Messiah complex a little bit, I don't know. But he did. I agree with what Mark Passio said. He did more for the movement than probably anybody in exposing the truth, and an amazing amount of work, and the courage that he had, and the ridicule that he got for years. He said he has people wanting to hug him now that used to just laugh at him and make fun of him, and now they want to give him a hug after the lockdown. He got kicked off of YouTube, and I don't know, sometime in the last couple months or so, they let him back on, or actually last year, they let him back on. It's weird. He's got a very small amount of subscribers, and he even made a video where he's on stage with a bunch of people singing a song about love in that, playlist. So he had to start his own media company called Iconic to do his work. To get the books, to publish his own books, to put it out there. But he was an ABC broadcaster after being a professional soccer or footballer in UK as a young person, 20-something. And, he felt the burning passion in him to expose the truth, to do it at a time when he could have, he must have had somebody, I wonder if he had, bodyguards, people checking out to make sure no one was shooting for him. Surely I need to set up my own network or website myself, lest I let the shadow ban attrition make certain I cannot serve the awakening much at all, just a couple people. If it was up to Mr. T and Peter Thiel and even Jeremy Kaufman, if he doesn't like the particular video, or Neil Mohan, I will get to share my work. I will get to share this video with like maybe 5, 10, 15 people, and I should be grateful for that. And I am grateful to them for that. But still, the several times when the CIA employee censor it at Alphabet, YouTube, Google was the one that liked me, that was kind and cool, and they took their finger off the shadow ban, and I get 100 or 200, 300 views again. Well, I appreciate that, because I just want to share the awakening. It's not my ego. Yes, the devil has a very powerful, coercive, secret society network doing so much to steal and harm all of us in an obscurated way, and they have terrified most folks into compliance. And they're constantly falsified, derogatory, divisive, mind control memes. For example, the overt reptilian human hybrid terrorist George H.W. Bush said, "The terrorists are out there, now go blow them up in Iraq. Let's go blow them up. You are either with us or against us." Presidents since JFK, maybe before him, have been selected to run the U.S., part of the big boys beast system. What do you think the electoral colleges are for? And they have often hoodwinked most of us. I mean, I voted for Trump in 2020, and I'm pretty sure they threw out the vote. Now, because I saw voter counters in several states testifying before state grand juries saying, "Why did I not count a single Trump vote?" Now he won with the majority after promising to abolish homelessness countrywide, amongst other things, as well as get all the illegal immigrants that the Biden administration supposedly let cross the border and deport all of them, which apparently seems like he's doing that. Now brainwashed truthers think the controlled opposition against Mr. T, Warp Speed, is going to come back and save us. Truthers, save yourselves. You think your new crypto Bitcoin system is going to save the world? You trust this person with your life? Do you know them that well? Do you know the man, the Japanese guy who invented the original Bitcoin, or do you know the person who invented this Bitcoin that you work with? Do you trust them with your whole life? Because again, it's a savior syndrome. Where humanity seems to me as a species that gets fucking stuck in a savior syndrome, and they've been brainwashed that way by our captors, by our enslavers. Our enslavers said, "We're your gods, and you must worship us, and we'll save you. We're your rescuer, Superman. Anunnaki Superman is going to save everyone. Anunnaki Supermen are going to come down in the spaceship and save us all." Don't you see the New Age religion? Certain people in Mount Shasta just have the new version of the same old story that the Jews and the Christians, the Muslims, the Bible thumpers, it's all the same old story. these same gods who made up these religions are going to come and save you and rescue you. Yeah. Truthers, save yourselves from becoming Hollywood lemmings. Yes, the fallen angels have controlled both sides of the major wars, in their certain Khazarian mafia families, provided mind control and guns for both sides. Got spoiled, rotten rich, and turning humans into soulless automatons. Written books from the right wing and the left wing extremists to both sides to provoke war. Literally. We've got Nazi, we've got 1% criminal robber, hell-eat baron, and dark ET, propagandists and mind control artists who are so good at the black arts, at war, mind control war, that they have written books for the both sides of each war since the Civil War. They've been writing books for both sides, okay? I'm not exaggerating. Look it up. Get spoiled, rotten rich, and turning humans into soulless automatons. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine getting filthy, wealthy, rich, turning people into robots, slaves, and soul dyers, soldiers? But the moral retards also gave us the internet, or they helped us with this corporation called DARPA, which invented the internet. Solar panels. I don't know who invented solar panels and other gadgets that demonstrate we don't need false authorities, but they've allowed it. Okay, they've allowed us to have solar panels, the internet, cell phones, laptops, and other gadgets that demonstrate we don't need false authorities. Okay, if they really want us to be these soulless AI humans 2.0 automatons in the smart city energy slave beings, then why would they give us cell phones, solar panels, if humans can remember the truth of our actual divinity at all? Then the Archon vampires begin to lose their loose snacks. That's all it takes, man. I know it's so much easier said than done. Now, again, if you really want to awaken yourself, it's a matter of consistency. If you consistently believe you're a divine being, harmless, not the one and only, a portion of the Great Spirit in that human's form, consistently manifesting a harmless and respectful reality for yourself consistently, if you're a place with a lower population, it makes more, it makes more sensical. So I'm a country mouse, what can I say? So if humankind can remember the truth of our divinity at all, then the Archon vampires, they gradually stop being able to feed off you. You can't relate to it if you remember your divine being. It nullifies their bullshit. So that's why I say that just like the zodiac sign Pisces, the last war for all of us, except for these direct energy weapons and nanobot weapons mostly, is going to be the psychological shadow work, facing the part of the self you don't want to face, the fake part of it that's not really you, facing the fact that those are archons and not you, telling you dumb, stupid, derogatory shit, facing what the real part of you desires and is going to be all about creating, okay? Consistently. So if we can maintain a much higher vibration in harmlessness, perhaps we can starve the fake gods instead of building the sick fucking loose farm more powerful for them. Call me an idealist, call me a dreamer, but maybe we can actually shut down the matrix, maybe blow up or send the moon back to cinder, give the people who put the moon there an ultimatum, either you remove this or we're going to destroy it. This is probably 100 or 2 centuries up down the road from here, but remove the psychic, to get the courage and the strength to actually remove all the shit physically, maybe not that long, but it's hard to say. Remove the psychic shackles of J seals and even remove the straitjackets we call chakras, and never go to the tunnel of light and get recycled ever again. A tall order? Of course it is. Maybe. But remember, as massively powerful as Loser 4 and the Archons have become, they lost their heart eons ago. They cannot love, respect, or have any morality. The human heart puts out literally over 1,000 times the electromagnetic power of the human brain. Okay? Lucifer, Enki, the archons, whatever you want to call them, the demiurge, they do not have control or understanding, understanding of the human heart. They cannot relate to the human heart. They do not understand how powerful it is. It was kind of a psychic slap in the face for them to see what some people like Van Morrison did in 2020. But remember, as massively powerful as Lucifer and the Archons have become, they lost their heart eons ago. They cannot love, respect, or have any morality, peace, or harmlessness, and they've convinced the majority that they are our gods. Jealous vampires that only want to use us as energy slaves in a human farm. And yet the human divine Christos human race was here for millions of years before the Anunnaki junior gods got here. But God is good. God is good all the time. God is love. What gives with the contradiction? Why does God demand blood and how can he demand blood and be good all the time? Is that the same God? How did the cognitive dissonance and spiritual bypassing dualistic black magic spells grow so powerful? Because as I've said, the adversary is a master of mind control. Because the mighty humans, were really, really good-natured at one point, and originally. And the original human species designed in the image of Christ Sophia was pure. Okay? Christ Sophia did not understand Lucifer because he became evil, and he was evil, and he lost his heart, and she was all heart. Okay? So she's never experienced evil. So this is the first time it's ever been created, really. That's why the Gnostic belief is that, or you could say it's possibly a cause of why they believe that this planet or this region, this matrix is a copy of the original, because like animals that need blood drinking, like vampires, like mosquitoes that need blood to live are on this planet, tigers, and the human brain needs cholesterol because this planet has been hijacked. I mean, there's, according to Lisa Renee, there's huge selenite crystals that they reverse programmed in the earth. And of course, we've discovered the machinery inside of Saturn. I put on my banner there. So, because the mighty humans were dragged down into the psychic dirt of hell on earth for millennium. Lucifer's rebellion was 1,000,000 years ago. This war we're in didn't start yesterday. This is only the most hot, the last several years are only the most hottest portions of it on the planet, We've been dragged into the psychic dirt of hell on earth for millennium through wars, satanic ritual abuse, enforced slavery, all kinds of things, all the dozens of ways I've mentioned in these videos, which is probably worse now than ever. Enforced slavery, which is probably worse now. In other words, the amount of wage slaves and even child prostitutes who were locked in a basement, there's more now than ever. However, it is possible that the demiurge secretly knows he is a moral retard. It's hard to say if I wrote this if that was a Pollyanna idea in the early hours of the morning when I wrote this, or is it possible this AI could be programmed to be good, As Christ Sophia has allowed or built everything, the dark side was, in other words, whether she gave Lucifer some of her DNA or an egg, or he stole an egg, or whatever it was, the dark side was originally allowed to be here, in my opinion, in the original idea of it. So we could grow, as we could not grow in heaven or just in the void, or with no bodily forms, with no evil. But see, before the lockdown, I used to think the pure evil was for the prison system, and that That's why anarchy was more real and pure, because the laws were, unless the laws were righteous and true, they were going to poison you if you get in trouble, if you had to go to the prison. So then I changed my tune when I realized these organizations were going to do stuff like lock down the whole world. I realized that it was out of control, and I need to fight, and I have to be a speaker on the side of truth. But it's true that the darkness or problems, in shadows we can grow, and illness and the shadows we can learn to shine. We can know what our light is. Because we could not grow in the pure spiritual dimension of the void without knowing how to some differentiation, to experience different things, and expansion of knowledge, awareness, experiences. The Holy Ghost got to experience through each and every person that listens or watches this. We get to experience, both horrors and wonders, you see, but it gradually Loser 4 actually won some wars, and he was able to that's how the Matrix, the Saturn Moon Matrix, and all the mind control, the endless wars, the endless perpetual suffering, the loose harvesting of the archons, the constant suffering of most people on this planet. That's how it began. Because it probably was a beautiful garden planet before that, when we had a matriarchy. I'm sure it had problems, but anyway, so the dark side was allowed to be here, from my interpretation, so that we could grow spiritually, but then it grew out of control. Yet it all rapidly got way out of hand. The violent psychopaths obeying the ET vampires and their secret societies and governments did put a lot of the soul-sucking, hieroglyphic, prison etheric shackles on nearly all of us. But as this system has no heart or respect, and the original humans had a lot of love, there are major flaws in the endless war, human farm, and memory wipe forced reincarnation system. This video, I would say, is a message of hope, but hope is a 4-letter word. Someone said hope is at the end of a gun. Hope is a stupid word, but I just want to give you encouragement and awareness on the truth of the good side. And this video is a little revelation of something I've been aware of this whole existence, and you could call me, you could use the term starseed, indigo child, or whatever lame word like that you want to use, but I don't like to use any of those kind of terms. But when I was 5 years old, I used to ride around my big wheel and talk in light languages and or some other tongue. And so I've been aware on some level that I was a talented artist. My IQ was so high they wouldn't tell me what it was. So I've been aware on some level that they told me I have an older soul since I was a little boy, And I am a living example of the fact that, even though they use 80 million billion watts of electricity to wipe all of our memories in between lives, it doesn't work 100%. Now, I can't remember my past lives, but I know I was a musician. Because somehow I had these skills in music. It didn't just come, I didn't pull it out of my ass. I mean, I did have to work on it to develop it, but it was much easier than it would be for some other people. So the Greys could not always wipe, or whoever, the dark side could not always wipe, the fake gods could not always wipe 100% of the memories on the online, and I'm pretty sure that they allow the online YouTube soul trap communities have been allowed to exist so as to keep those who care about souls only focused on their own personal escape from the Matrix, just like the Hinayana compared to the Mahayana, or a mystic Christian compared to a Bible thumper. Okay, why do they allow these people to have, some of them to have their full audience? We talk about the soul trap community because it could lead you into depression, because most of these people haven't had children, and they think it's wrong to bring children into this hell on earth matrix human slave prison farm, and which could be often to be the case. But you see, call me a dreamer again, but I feel that from both sides. I see that we are still on the original experiment that Christ Sophia set up for us to have free will, and we have these reptilians or whoever, dark ET overlords, and their 1% elite robber baron slaves trying to force us all into the prison. And they've done a pretty great job with more than half the world in that, and now they're going to focus it on USA, a digital prison, right? So it's going to be interesting, but it's not going to work entirely, because they have to pretend like they don't exist, pretend like they're honoring the Constitution, pretend like you have free will, pretend like they're they're trying to help you. So the Soul Trap communities on YouTube, the Soul Trap theory communities and all that talk about that, and all these people, and I love so many of them dearly, but half dozen of them dearly, but most of them don't have children, and they're promoting ideas that may be so close to the truth, right on the money, on the bullseye, hitting the target on the bullseye, that the Dark Lords decided, okay, what we'll do is allow these people to fight us in some other way, or I'm sure they don't want to let us escape, but just even if they did, it's good for them, because they want all the people on this planet. They don't want those people to be stirring about people's awakenings once the plan is more gone forth. So it's just like very similar to the Hinayana and the Bible thumper, who thinks that all that matters is that they're born again, or they follow the way of the Buddha, and all the rest of the world be damned. Well, now some of these people in the Soul Trap community will tell you, well, you got to do your best to help wake other people up. Some of them even say we got to open the door for everyone, and those are the people I listen to more, the people who really, really share the oneness. But when they it's a frequency thing. When you feel that their video or listening to what they say is lowering your frequency, it's not helping you. So yes, you also have to realize that to some degree, they're going to be able to terrify you into reincarnating the more harm you do to others, of course. So the law of karma, it does apply to some degree, because the more out of control you are now, you're not going to be in control then, So those who can think would go, and they want you focused on escaping the matrix yourself. So that those who can think would go into their little me escape hatch cul-de-sac. The little me escape hatch cul-de-sac. Everyone else be damned. No one deserves the memory wipe. May it collapse on its own sickness and heartless intention. Does the devil secretly know he is a moral retard and want to evolve? Same question I asked about in the video I made about the LA fires. Deep down inside, does loser 4 want to repent his sick, filthy heartlessness and become a real archangel, or become a respectful creator being? Or is that wishful thinking? He's proven he's the greatest mind control artist ever. But that's not good enough. He has to still keep trying to steal everything here. Well, I have impressions from a past life. I know I was a cokehead, and I've had people cut out lines of coke for me in this life, and I wouldn't take it because I was addicted to it then. I wouldn't do it. Only cold brew. I was a musician in several. I was born with a high IQ and a lot of talent, and a family with no one like me in it. This simultaneously tells me, both that we are forced to reincarnate into a slave or a family that might not even, if it's not related to us, it's some related to you in some psychic or psychologically derogatory way, like being born into a narcissistic family. And also, because they want to extract as much loose from us all as possible. Again, this is a loose factory if you ask the fake gods, and the memory wipe is imperfect. Again, because when you think about, Castaneda always talk about intent. When you think about intent, when you think about Lucifer's intent, when you think about the intent behind the lockdown, when you think about the intent behind everything, it keys you in on why it's bound to fail or succeed or bound to happen. Because if it's an evil or pathetic intent, it's not going to work. Okay? If it's a good intent, and you work with organizations that worship the devil, well, it might get blocked, but it's not going to be completely blocked. See? But if you have an ill intent, it's going to bounce back more rapidly than ever, because Aquarius is a rapid energy. In the age of Aquarius, it governs gadgets, Wi-Fi, lightning, 5G. It comes back quick. And so, again, this is a positive video. I want you to realize that, as brilliant as the dark side has been and all they've done, because their intent is selfish and evil and controlling, vampiric, the memory wipe is imperfect. Hope is a shitty word, but allow this truth to seep in. Now will win. Now backwards is one. Now we have won. Now we have won. The devil is called loser 4 because he insists that we all must lose. He is for our losing. Because that's what loser 4 or loser 4 wants us to lose. That is what he's trying to, is attempted to, and often, sadly, tragically done a wonderful job of turning this planet into a low vibrational and negative energy extraction farm. And he insists that we all must lose because he believes we're his cattle or his bloody energy drinks or his child hookers. For him to win, we have to lose. Yet there are psychics who claim to be able to see your past lives. Andrew Bartzis claims to be able to see your past lives. Is that possible? If these folks are not charlatans, it also proves folks can learn to see before death's forcing. If you believe, or if one of you believe, if some of you be truth, if you can actually, this guy claims that, he took ayahuasca and now he can see into people's past lives. And if you believe this is true, or if you be truth this, if these folks are not charlatans, it also proves folks can learn to see before death's forcing. Remember, viewers can see what is happening in the past, far off and distant spaces, the moon. Remote viewers can, or astral projection artists, remote viewers. It's been scientifically proven. The Men Who Stare at Goats is a documentary. One of the people in that movie now, he's in his 70s. He's full-time living. He teaches people to remote view. There's a half a dozen people doing it professionally now. It's been scientifically proven that they can see what's happening on the other side of the planet. And some of them claim to be able to see in distant spaces what's on the moon and maybe anywhere. Other planets or galaxies even. This has actually been scientifically documented. It has been documented. So while the fallen ones have often been massively successful, no, it does not ever work on all of us. You can fool some people some of the time, but it ain't going to work on all the people all the time, because you don't understand. If you're a black magician, you don't get what you can't understand what you're dealing with. You can't understand the truth because you're in denial of it. If you're a black wizard, you're in denial of the truth. Some enlightened masters have escaped the forced reincarnation memory wipe plan. Jesus Christ, or Yeshua, my interpretation is he probably created a big ass hole in the grid. Somewhere in the grid, you could probably find a way out that Christ made, because in the purity of his, in the purity of his Christ light, when he left his body, it left a hole in the grid. So this is what my interpretation from reading the Gnostic text called the Pistis Sophia. It details the story. So basically what it says is that the archons, or whatever you want to call them, these memory wipe, these beings that work for the dark angels that wipe your memories and give a hologram of your deity or your loved ones when you die, they fell over on themselves in anguish when Christ Yeshua went through the tunnel. So they couldn't force him to lay on the slab and wipe his memories. They couldn't force him to do jack shit. They fell on themselves. So my theory is that he made a hole in it somewhere. So yes, they have locked they have locked us psychologically into a psychological prison and made the whole place artificially freezing, or at least 15, 20 degrees cooler than it naturally would be everywhere in the continental USA. But like the Archon's freezing black hole sun does not have the ability to control, coerce, and create cowards out of all of us, sure, it is easy to think we'd be overwhelmed by our past life memories without the memory wipe, and thus justify the evil. This is what I used to think when I was in my teens and 20s, that I couldn't remember it. And several spiritual teachers probably elucidated this in their books, that it would just blow your mind too much to know. And of course, other people I've met told me that, one of my friends told me that doing past life regression therapy was the key to his healing. So it's really easy to believe the lie that you can't remember anything from your past life because it would be too much information. But the whole idea that all these soul trap theorists have, which is totally true, is that if this was really a school, you'd be able to remember from each past life and learn more and more. And this is why Elena Denon, although she's obviously questionable in her sources, but she depicts this planet as a divine, free multiversity, learning and garden planet in the future, which certainly I agree with that. And I had an endless dance party as well, but it's free and safe. But so it's true. We would be overwhelmed by our past. Most of us would be overwhelmed by our past life memories without the wipe, and thus, this makes a lot of people justify that evil. Yet it is also true that this is not a school with the memory wipe. Because if you're not allowed to remember anything you learned from the past life, it's not believable anymore. It's not in the truth. You keep reincarnating back into spiritual kindergarten, dumbed down. Dumber each lifetime in the Kali Yuga, sadly. Dumber, like dumbed down since forcing us all to have these microwave gadgets. The average human IQ has gone down 20, 30 points in the last 25 years. And forced into an sickened, shortened lifespan. And the Anunnaki junior gods even said in the OT, we will shorten man's life. So you won't even notice this ideally. Yet there are those with strong discipline who have punctured this crazy prison. Like I say, those people who are master remote viewers. Similar to the movie Shawshank Redemption. We just need to find the hole they made in the wall. Find the hole Christ Yeshua made in the wall behind that calendar. Or develop the extreme discipline to learn to astral travel or remote view yourself. Or lucid dream. Become comfortable in the lucid dreaming. And become sovereign in all ways possible. Letting go of fear entirely. It's what's going to have to happen eventually. Letting go of fear entirely, souls won't even get tricked into the tunnel. If you're not afraid of the dark, if you realize that God is really, truly good, the almighty original prime creator is actually fully, truly good, you're not going to be afraid to go into the darkness. You're not going to be afraid to go wherever you want. Go back to the Christ Sophia, wherever she is. Go back to the soul. Go to the sun, but not the tunnel of light. Okay? So, when I was 10, 11 years old, I started playing guitar. I got an acoustic guitar. Then I got cheap PV electric guitar the next year. And when I was 12 years old, I was taking guitar lessons in this old building in downtown Spartanburg, South Carolina, with the old rusty elevator I'd take up to my class, and the music store was on the second floor, and I think there was a fire in it. I don't know, but they decided, I think it might have been after that, it burned down. But they decided to move to this old Pools department store building. And they had a grand prize opening for the opening with a raffle, a bunch of bands, and I went and danced to a bunch of bands. And they had a raffle. It was like $1 to put your name in the raffle, and my mom did it. The grand prize was a 1989 Gibson Les Paul Custom with gold plates, which you can see in some of my videos, me playing there. And my mother's name came up for that prize. And she said she just did the contest for me, so she gave it to me. And I didn't touch the guitar for 2 weeks because I was a little freaked out about it. And then I ended up breaking the neck twice and spending $500 twice to get the neck repaired. And the second time, the repairman said it was more strong than it was to begin with. But I was actually drawing pictures of Slash. Guns N' Roses was my favorite band, and I was drawing pictures of Slash playing a black Les Paul, several pictures, probably a half dozen maybe, or 3 to 6, before I won that. So I thought, did I manifest that? And then I thought, wow, I must have been a musician in a past life. It was the only thing that would explain getting that guitar. Why was I, I thought to myself, why would I, this young 12-year-old kid, why would I be given this fine instrument? And I think it's because I was a musician in a past life, so I had the karmic points, right? Somehow, the part of the memory wipe that didn't work. Somehow your talents or certain parts, they can't wipe out of your memory. I don't really understand what the human essence is. It's probably capable, it's like a computer. It's capable of having any kind of experience or data in it, knowledge or wisdom inside of it. I'm not sure exactly what a human spirit or essence is, but I know that, the memory wipe is real. And I know that it doesn't work 100% because of my musical skills, my high IQ. It didn't just come out of nowhere. So, my personal, and then what happened with my disability, is that my personal story really exemplifies both sides of how this is a free will planet, of how we're divine beings. I'm not trying to be brag or be narcissistic, but it's the ability to write songs, the ability to be a creator, a musical creator, for me has been the closest, besides at certain tantric moments, has been the closest I've ever felt to the almighty creator. The ability to create and actually make money even at it, to be successful at it even, and have bands and shows and all that, helped me to remember that I am a creator, a ray of the light of Christ, a portion of the infant soul having a temporary human experience in a flesh suit, creating stuff. However, through illness and mental and physical illness, and being coerced to be controlled through that in a codependency, I have exemplified, being not a slave, but a prison warden psychologically. So I've exemplified both sides. So as a person really damn adamant and blessedly adamant on being a spiritual teacher, I've even in moments of a narcissistic psychosis actually told people, this is the way you should not behave. Talk about serious Heyoka. We are powerful energy creators in a planet hijacked by a demonic, soul-sucking matrix with a lot of discernment. A tremendous amount of discernment. We can learn solely or mostly, eventually, within the original to stay within the original program of free will and never get recycled again, and not come back as a slave, and not have our memory wiped ever again. Okay? It's going to take a lot of spiritual work. Their weakness is their greatest strength. The Vietnamese soul dyer in the pointy hat said to Jeff Bridges' character before he shot him and gave him honorary discharge. He said to him telepathically before he shot him, "Do you have the power to reject the false gods and remember your future in freedom?" If you enjoyed this and you haven't already, make sure to click on the subscribe or follow me on Odyssey or Rumble for a deeper dive into the dark depths of mind control and further tips on how to awaken from them. And once again, as always, my friends and family, if you have the courage, create a great day in your automobile, your room, your teepee, your tent, your piece of the forest, your house, or wherever you are, and your little portion of this beautiful, beautiful, sacred, divine being that's attempted to being hijacked in this greatest war of all time. Be like David Standal Roth. I'm coming up with a book report soon. I'm reading his book about gratitude, and I'm just so thankful, actually, to all the techies who helped me to bring this material to you on YouTube and Google and Rumble and Odyssey. I give thanks to all of them. I give thanks to all my friends and family and enemies everywhere. Much love, many blessings in the Great One, my family. Peace be with thee, if and whenever possible.